Here we go. Fire away.
So
Brad?
10 newcomers. Is that kind of the new normal in college basketball now? Just kind of rebuilding the roster each spring?
I don't know if that many is normal. I think it's kind of what we expected, knowing what we had last year with last year's team. But I think we'll see it go out a little bit here now that we get rid of fifth years and the COVID guys. But yeah, it's not something I haven't done before. As a junior college coach, that was pretty much the norm. But I do like this group, and I think our staff has worked really hard to find the right blend of portal guys with high school guys.
Is there anything you're trying to do to expedite the gelling process? You didn't have everybody at one time in the summer, so maybe now the fall that needs to get going a little quicker.
Yeah, we've played a lot more just in terms of the chemistry on the court. Just actually playing, getting a feel for each other. We're mixing a lot of lineups up. We're never playing the same group every day together. I'm trying to learn that piece of it, who works well together, who doesn't. But that's all part of the process. But, as a character's side of things, I mean, they're all getting along. They're all cohesive, and I like that.
You have so many more nuts to crack, so to speak, things to figure out, connections to make with individual players about specific things, whatever. Just compared with when you had a veteran team, you have to recalibrate your own intensity level, or you got to sort of build up more slowly or something. Your expectations or anything like that.
I don't change much when it comes to my path on the court. I think the one thing that, we had to make changes last year. We had to figure out how to utilize Marcus last year. He was predominantly playing the wing, and we had to figure out how to utilize him. We made that change really kind of right before the Big Ten game. There'll be some of that this year. I think we've got a pretty good feel. I think we tried to be very specific. And one, we wanted size, who could play a lot of different positions, and two, shooting. I think we're doing some stuff offensively that doesn't require, I think it's, for lack of a better term, it's easy. It's concepts more than actions and sets. So I think that part's a little easier. The defensive side of it now, I've said it every year I've been up here, that's the side we have to work the most on. And that's very evident now with this group. The young guys foul too much. We're not tough enough. They've got to understand how important it is to win a possession. All those things are fitting together. We're still figuring out a little bit, certain lineups, because we can be really big at times. What lineups look like and what they will work together, but that's all part of the fun for me.
Coach, was there any talk after the UConn game that you thought that maybe make a couple changes after the UConn game, like after you process that?
Yeah, I told our staff as we walked off the court after that game, I said we were a Final Four team who got beat by the national champions. I didn't think there would be any question who would win it. I thought they were the best team in the country. And I said, but if that's a national championship team, we had to improve. We had to get better. There was 2 top 10 picks there. I thought their talent level was extraordinary. Their depth, and then they were extremely well coached. And there's a reason they won back to back. I think we've accomplished some of those things. We had to be more specific in what we were doing from a talent side of things offensively. I think we addressed some of those things, and yet we had to be bigger. We had to protect the rim better. We had to do certain things better. We had some advantages at that spot, but we were good, but we knew we weren't going to be old like that every year.
Everyone's talking about the depth of this team. Even Ty said that he thinks this team has topped a lot of more talent than it was last year. How do you handle that in terms of rotations? Do you see yourself expanding more competition this year?
We'll see. Everybody talks about depth and they're excited about it, and really once you start coaching them and you figure out, who can perform and who doesn't, some of them guys kind of eliminate themselves or they step up. I do like our offensive talent. I think we have a bunch of talented guys on that end of the court. But again, that's only one side of the court. We've got to figure out how to be great at the other end as well. So, but I do think we have a lot of versatility. We can do a lot of different things, and I do like their competitive makeup, which helps. This group's really, really competitive, and that's top to bottom.
What's the process for taking a really talented team and kind of making them a winning team?
The first thing is make them tough. There's a lot of things that go into that. Dealing with adversity. There's a reason we're playing the schedule we're playing. We need to find out what our warts are before we jump into league play. We need to find out, who can handle physicality or who can handle quickness or all those things. I think that's all part of it. Toughening them up, creating the format that we do the little things that win. That's what winning is about. It's about getting a rebound. It's about getting a stop. How are we going to win games when the ball doesn't go in? You guys have heard me say that a bunch. For this group, scoring's always been easy. And they play high school guys. They're not playing against 21, 22-year-old pros that are well coached and taking away your best attributes. So we have to figure out how to do the things that win, and we work on those things every day, and we stress it. Just going through the process. It's a timely process, but we accomplish some things, and then we wait some more.
Does it mean something to you that you turn over? Not to. I mean, it's not an all-new team, but you turn over largely a new team, as new as any team in the Big Ten that I can think of, going back forever, and yet you're perceived as one of the top contenders. That seems like a reflection of your recent track record, where the program has a different just standing in the world. And, a few years ago, if you turn over an all-new roster, you're not going to be picked for second, fourth turnout. What does that mean to you?
I think it's a tribute to a lot of the really good players we've had, and that we have found some success, over the last 5 years. But again, I think it's a tribute to our staff recruiting. I think we've got, everybody puts stars by guys and tabs them as this or that, and I think that's a part of it as well. Again, I like where we're at. I always want to be picked towards the top. I always want to be in big games. We're trying to win a national championship, and if all those things fall into place to do that, great. The Elite Eight was a great run. It was great for the players to get to experience that, but that's not why I'm here. And we want to play 2 more games, and we're going to keep the gas on the pedal to the metal and the foot on the gas and whatever other cliche you want to use until we get there. That's the push, and it's nice to be up there. Now we have to go prove it. This group has to understand there's pressure with that, there's expectations. But as I told them, we sprint to that stuff.
Is there a higher ceiling, lower floor? Is that a way to look at this team because there's so much new? It might go great.
Higher ceiling.
More things that could go wrong.
Higher ceiling for sure. I've said that since middle of June. I think this team's ceiling is very high. What can go wrong? A lot. That's in any season. How we handle challenges. We're not going to run away from those. I'm going to put expectations and pressure on them. They need to become part. They need to understand what that's about. So I do like our ceiling. I think we can score the ball in a lot of ways. We just got to be tough enough to make winning plays, and that's where my job comes in.
Ty Rodgers talks about it seems like the players don't care as much when people once they want to win. Is that what you've seen from your team so far? Has it been a selfless team during practice?
It has been. Now we'll see how that all plays out when actual minutes are handed out. And there's 200 minutes in a game, and if we can get guys to perform and play as hard as they can for as long as they can, and the next guy comes in and does that, then we're going to have a heck of a team. But again, it's a common theme every year. We all sit down here and we talk about depth or this guy's ratings or this whatever. Winning is really, really hard, and the one thing that I'm going to try to do always is put the best players on the floor that allow us to win. And we'll see how that plays out. But this group has been selfless. This group has been committed to that, dedicated to each other and helping each other get better. And like I said, we've got a scrimmage here in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what that looks like after that.
KJ on film, I'm sure looks like he has a dynamic, versatile skill set, can score from everywhere. I know you're not going to put a number on it, like points per game or anything, but what are the expectations for him, you think?
Yeah, he's a really good player. The thing with KJ is he doesn't need to score to be really, really effective. He's a very high IQ player. He's a great passer. He's going to take what the game gives him. If you look at his games with his national team, he had 37 and 1 because they needed him. He had another one. He had, I think, 11 or 13. It's all a matter of just he takes what the game gives him. I think his growth comes on the defensive side. Understanding, that the game's officiated differently here than in Europe, and seeing the speed that he's going to see. But he's a very talented player.
Brad, I feel indefinitely. What needs to happen to pick up the slack, recruiting-wise, on court? What he provided in the meantime with the guys that will be.
Well, we've got Orlando back. And Jeff's been killing it on the recruiting trail. Obviously we were able to. Tim was awesome. I mean, awesome. And the on the court stuff is we've got a staff of young guys and adding Quay to it. He's done workouts in the NBA. He was very instrumental in Iowa and Trent's development on the court as a GA. Tyler and Zach are both excellent teachers on the court. That part will be great. We'll be fine. And you don't make up for a Tim with just one guy. He was instrumental in what we did. But those other guys are good and have connections as well. And you just kind of you kind of move the needle that way. Wish Tim absolutely nothing but great health and well-being, and he was fabulous for us.
Brad, I feel like
maybe approach or handle being the guy that his teammates are going to turn to. Because a year ago, 2 years ago, he was in the opposite position.
Yeah, now he's the wily veteran, and I think he's got a lot of help. I think that you two guys that nobody talks about, Keaton Cooch or AJ Red, those are guys that are walk-ons. And AJ's been in the program as long as they establish our culture. Ty is extremely popular. He is very likable, not just by his teammates and the coaches, but by the people in the community, the fans. People see that, and Ty's voice is loud, but his actions are also loud, just as loud, and the way that he conducts himself. So, we look at experience. You've got Kylan, you've got Trey, Ben, all those guys. maybe don't have experience with us, but they have experience, and so their leadership is factored into that as well. So, but Ty's a rock star as a human being and as a leader. He's taken that role on and said, "Jump on my back."
What that process, but what you've seen from Perez, the guy who maybe seemingly be a role, depending on how that plays out.
Yeah, Perez has been incredible. Perez has been a guy that we haven't had. He's been that lob catcher that you can throw it up and he just goes and gets it, no matter how high you throw it. He's extremely athletic. He was 252 pounds. He doesn't have a body like a freshman, and we haven't had that kind of athlete. He's a sub 5-minute mile guy at that weight. He's a guy that can really run, and then he's just got that Chicago grit, toughness, dog, whatever you want to use. And he's been a dominant rebounder literally since the summer. For him, it's staying out of foul trouble. It's all the little things on the defensive side that he's got to do. He's got big responsibilities because he's guarding guys in ball screens a lot. But man, I'm excited about it.
Brad, to dovetail Scott's question about Ty, I feel like a lot of his questions end up being about improving his jump shot. For you in the building, is that a high priority for him, or does he have a role that can affect the game in other ways?
I don't worry about it, whether Ty shoots it or doesn't shoot it. He works at it. That's something that I think everybody else wants to worry about. He's put a ton of time in it. He's a much better shooter than he was a year ago. He's going to shoot some of them, but it's also understanding the rule that maybe there's some guys who do that a little better than he does, and it's playing to your strengths and not something that's maybe not your strength. Is he going to shoot it? Absolutely. That's what he does. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a jack of all trades guy. He can play any position. He's been very, very effective in the open court as he was last year, but have him not with the ball as much maybe as he had a year ago, running the wings. So he's been shooting free throws great. So yeah, it's do what you do and play to your strengths.
Brad, what have you seen from Dre as he looks to make this jump from year 1 to year 2?
He's probably had as good a fall as anybody on our team. I've said this. I should have played him more last year. Dre is a guy that's an elite defender on the ball, and he's a guy that can really score, and he doesn't need help to score. He can get a shot against anybody. He's a very good hard shot maker, but he's become a much better basketball player. He's not just a guy that scores shots and baskets like in a pickup game. He's a guy that understands how to play. He's a guy that can play with the ball some, but as a two-way player, he's been shining in our practices at both ends of the court, and it's really nice when you can just give him the ball and he's going to get a really good shot off.
Get multiple guys on this team that can be primary ball handlers. What's that do for the offense? How does that change the approach offensively?
It's really, really good when you can match up Hunt with multiple guys who can handle the ball. And we've looked at Ben Humrichhouse with the ball at the point. We've looked at, and Ben's a very good ball handler, Trey White, obviously Kyle and Ty, KJ. We've gone right on down the list with all those guys being able to, Draven, all those guys being able to do that. And when we're playing the way we're playing, we're still playing very fast. We want to do that. We want to be on the glass, but again, it's spacing the floor and matchup hunting, and we're not doing it just with booty ball. We're trying to create some matchups with ball screens because KJ's as good as there is in it, and Tomislav could just shoot the cover off of it. So it's a nice deal to have guys who can handle it and pass and shoot it. And Will, I forget about Will.
What do you want Will's role to be in terms of his function in your offense?
Will's a guy that just knows how to play. I don't know how to describe it. He loves the game. His passion for the game is almost unrivaled. I coach Michael Beasley, and his was very similar to that. And then there's a guy his ball just goes in all the time. And, he can play with it at 6'9", and get to his spots. I think he prefers probably to play off of it a little bit, and come off handoffs and do this, but he doesn't need a screen to score, and yet one of the best things he does is pass. So he's a great competitor, and like I said, I'm excited about where his game can take us, because he's got a really high ceiling, and he's a savant. He loves the game, he wants to learn it, and he remembers everything. So I'm really excited about Will's. Whatever position he's playing, he's going to be effective.
You have to be careful with that. He's a freshman, obviously. You see what you see on the floor. Like, you have to, with your own thoughts or expectations, kind of remind yourself.
Every player is different in that capacity. With him, he is just game on. Just let me play. And what we're doing offensively is not overly complicated because it's conceptual, and it's just spacing guys and playing. Probably more NBA-like than college-like. But so his versatility. I mean, he gets in the paint at 6'9". He's very effective. He's a hard matchup, and he's just got really good skills with the ball, especially inside.
Totally fair. October 4th question here. If you had to throw the ball to somebody on a last possession now, he's going to make a shot for you, or he's at least going to make the right play. Who is it?
I don't know if I know that. That's something we actually practice, because I need to know who makes them. There's a lot of guys you can throw them to. There's not enough guys with sack big enough to make them. Sorry, you gotta be tough enough to make them. I mean, I would assume, can I throw the ball to him still? Because he was going to make him. Marcus, more often than not, was going to make him. So I don't know. I don't know that yet. But I'd feel good with KJ, Draven, Will, maybe Trey. He's been really good. I got Ben. He's probably our best shooter. It depends. I don't know.
So that's your 5 on the floor?
No. I don't put words in my mouth. But those guys can all. I gotta find out who can make them. I gotta find out.
Do you feel like the offense has developed good chemistry over the offseason?
Yeah. We've spent a good amount of time teaching spacing and playing and understanding roles and cutting, and so I feel like we're way ahead offensively of where we are defensively right now. 7th grade middle school team might hang 100 on us. We stink, and we foul too much, and tonight at 5:30 when I get out of here, we'll have a really inspired practice on the defensive side, because that's what we're working on mostly, trying to get guys dialed in.
There's so many new players. How far can you bring that defense? Because so much of it is chemistry. How far along in one season can you bring that?
Yeah, a lot. We did that last year. 2 years ago, when we were young, and we had a lot of freshmen on that team, and we made some changes midstream. We became one of the better teams, defensive teams in the league in a quick period of time, and it's just getting guys to buy into the right things. That you're not going to make mistakes, you're not going to foul, you're going to compete, you're going to give the extra effort and the second extra effort, and all those things that truly matter. And we want to make people shoot. We haven't changed philosophy. We want to make people shoot twos, take away threes from the best shooters, and we're going to continue to stick by that philosophy. Analytics tell you it's a good thing, and we're going to keep living by it.
I've covered you long enough to know that even your best defensive teams are going to talk similar to how you just did. So I guess realistically, where are you at? Defensively, how do you speed that up and coming up?
We're behind last year, and at one time we were really good defensively. So again, it's just youth. And the one thing with young guys is they played because they score for the most part. They don't have the discipline to not foul. They don't have the discipline to do it 18 seconds into a shot clock. They don't have the discipline yet to, after somebody jumps up and they play great defense and hits a shot, be tough enough to say, okay, I'm going to get you next time. And there's some, there's some toughness that comes with that, and that's what we're looking for. Is we got a group that takes charges, we got a group that blocks shots, we got a group that we literally spend more time on cleaning up the floor. This group dives on the floor for loose balls. We're getting there. I love that part of it. But just the mistakes and the mental capacity to not get frustrated and not get down, and then let it affect your offense, because and this team can be a great defensive team because we have length, we have size, and I think we can challenge and make shots hard, but we can't make the mistakes that we made.
Jason is going to be in a different situation.
This has to be our last question. Sorry, they switch at 1:30.
Go ahead.
Jason's in a different situation than all the other freshmen on the roster. How has his development and his energy been this summer?
Oh, he's been tremendous. First of all, Jason's gained 20 plus pounds. I think he's been he's the king of eating waffles. Jason's been good. He's continuing to work on his jump shot. He's a terrific jump shooter. He's got great hands. Again, the biggest challenge for him is on the other end, but been really pleased.